Hello, and welcome back to the channel. Today we're going to address one of the deficiencies in my disc golf game, and that's the back knee drive, or really the back knee technique, in a positioning called stacking. Back knee drive is what transfers your weight into your brace, which transfers the power from the ground, from your legs, and into your upper body. The way we achieve this stacking position is by driving our back knee under our hip. This is going to really initiate a lot of stretch in our core, which is our first rubber band. There's a couple of different philosophies out there as far as our disc golf backhand mechanics go. So hopefully I give you a little bit from each one to give you something that helps you out, because I don't know what technique you use. How we do this back knee drive or back knee technique is really relative to each individual. There's a common position. Let me show you it real quick. What we want to do when we get our back knee drive is we want to have our knee, our hips, and our shoulders all stacked in a line. After doing some video analysis, I am 100% not doing that.
All right, let's take a look at some studs here. Here's Eagle perfectly stacked up. Dare I say, he's going to let that one fly. Here's Dreamy Ezra Aderhold perfectly stacked up there, looking absolutely yoked, ready to crush on that disc. Then we have the Goat at a little different angle. You'll see why in a minute. Also stacked up. Great positioning there. We'll back to that picture. And here's Not the Goat, me, leaning forward too much. Womp, womp, and let's not even get into that back foot.
And there's 4 ways we might struggle to get in the proper stacking position. One could be technique, in particularly the timing of your backhand swing. Second thing could be you don't have the proper flexibility to get in this position. The third reason is you might not have the proper strength to get into and hold this proper position. And the fourth reason might actually be a structural reason. Believe it or not, the anatomy of your hips might be the cause for you not being able to get in this position or do the technique you want. So let's start tackling all 4 of these reasons so we can get out there and sling better D. So let's first tackle timing. That's one of my main problems. Timing with our disc golf throw, in short, is when we get done with our glide here, whatever our glide is, to get into our brace. We want to have that heel strike. Now everybody's puts their foot down a little differently. So whatever your technique is, the timing is heel down, heel up. If you're looking for a mental aid to help you with your back half mechanics, I like to say back shoelaces to the ground. That helps me really get this knee going down in the direction that it needs to be going. Now, when we talk about timing, we also want to talk about staying smooth. A lot of times we get excited when we want to crush that D really far off the tee, and we rush our hips or we rush our form, and that also causes problems with our timing.
Another timing note is Paul Macbeth is all stacked up here, and his disc is still in his reach back.
Now, if it's not timing, it could be flexibility. Do you have enough flexibility to internally and externally rotate your hips to achieve proper disc golf form? If you struggle with flexibility, you'll have a difficult time with your body getting into this position here with the stack. You might also struggle with keeping your disc back as your hips are coming through and getting you into this shoelace down position while keeping your disc back a little bit to really feel that stretch. One is a very simple test. It's actually a drill. You can get into your brace and just try to move your foot into a nice 90-degree angle, and you'll feel this wonderful stretch in the lower part of your back. Now, depending on where you end up, you might not have the proper hip flexibility in order to get into that position. A full body flexibility routine would help you out greatly to get in that position. Once again, I don't know exactly who I'm talking to, so everyone's going to have different strengths and weaknesses, so it's up to you to experiment with movement to find out where your personal strengths and weaknesses are and work that into your personal technique. Which leads me into the structural part of why you might not be able to get exactly into this position that you want. People's hips, and more particularly how the femoral head goes into the hips, can be shaped differently, which can cause different strengths and weaknesses in our body. For example, when we land in our disc golf form, we want to be internally rotated with our knees here. Okay? However, some people's hip structure prevents that from being really comfortable and really inhibits their ability to do that. They would be more apt to be more externally rotated with their hips out here. And we can see a couple of examples of that in disc golf throwing with some people with unique form typically. So this is something you need to experiment with as you go through your disc golf form, and maybe that might be why you struggle. There are a couple of tests to see which one you are more apt to be, an internally rotated athlete with your hips or an externally rotated athlete. For example, we could lay down a figure 4 like this and see if our hip can get externally rotated like this. If we're stuck up in this position, that means you struggle with the external rotation. Also lay on our stomach like this and see if we can turn our hips out. If we have trouble doing this, we struggle with internal rotation. I personally don't struggle with either of those tests, so my hip mobility is pretty good. Here's a couple of drills to improve your hip mobility. You can also check out my full body mobility routine. That's in the channel. I'll link that in the description as well. These 90-90s are great to mobilize your hips. I'm at a little weird angle here with the camera, but as you can see, I'm just windshield wipering my hips back and forth, and this will do a great deal to improve your hip flexibility. If you can't do that, you can lean back. This is the assisted movement if you struggle with the regular movement. If we're not strong enough, certainly not going to be able to get us into this elite position because our core muscles aren't strong enough to hold it, and we're not going to be able to have enough strength in our legs to hold that as well. A couple of different exercises you can do to get yourself stronger and get yourself used to the movement. Drop step squats are a great one. Here's the body weight version of this. This is on my channel in my 5-minute workout if you want to check that out further. All we're going to do is have our hands in front of our chest, drop our foot back, and get ourselves down in a squat. Now you notice we're almost in this 90-degree position as we're going down. We're also offsetting our feet. So it's a little similar movement to our disc golf throw. And if this is too easy for you, you can hold a weight right here like a kettlebell or dumbbell to get a more challenge out of it. You can also do some Bulgarian split squats. These are great for single leg strength and core strength, as well as improving the mobility in your joints. You can do this body weight wise or with dumbbells or a barbell. This is also located in one of my videos on should you lift weights as a disc golf thrower. Now, what are some simple solutions you can do to help get yourself in the stacking position? Simply staggering your feet. A lot of these videos talk about staggering your feet and how if you don't, it's going to rob you of power because you're not getting your hips involved in your throw, which is true. Just kind of give you the blank heel to your toe that far, create the window, something along those lines. However, if you're struggling with the back in the back part of your body, one of the solutions is to move this around, either become more exaggerated and more offset, or if you're too offset, become less offset so you can really get your posture correct to get into this stack position to maximize our power. All right, let's talk about a couple drills that can help us out with our back foot. If you're struggling with feeling your knee dropping below your hip, this is a simple drill. Just get your PVC pipe or a broomstick, depending on how slippery your floor is. We're going to get in whatever staggered stance is good for you, and we're just going to use this brace to try to help us get used to moving our foot and dropping our knee under our hip. That's all we want to do in this drill. Drop our knee under our hip and work into our brace, getting those back shoelaces to the ground. This is just to help you get a little weight off your body to make it easier for you, because really not much weight is going to be on our back foot at this point. And on my front leg, my weight is really into my heel as I'm straightening out my leg. I don't have that much free wall space here. Once again, with the PVC pipe, this is going to help us feel that back knee drop while keeping that disc still back in our reach back and working into our power pocket. I feel like we can't nail down an exact position where it needs to be because everybody's flexibility is going to be slightly different. This is going to be a good drill for you to figure out exactly where you fit. We're going to have our PVC pipe touching the wall, and we're just going to work into our stack while holding this back, and you should be able to feel a nice stretch in your back and in the rubber band of your upper back. Once again, feet offset, dropping our back knee under our hip, and then we can experiment with how far, oops, sometimes it slips off, with how far we can have this disc back and we can feel that stretch. This drill I got from Spin Doctor Disc Golf, saw it on his video. I've been practicing with it because, like I said, my timing is my weakest issue. I'm just gonna shorten it a little bit. I'm gonna get in our X step, heel strike, and then we're just gonna drag our foot forward. Some people struggle with, as soon as they get the foot strike, they start rushing their hips forward. This drill will help keep your hips closed as your heel comes onto the ground, which is something that I personally struggle with. So that drill hit home with me. Once again, that was from Spin Doctor Disc Golf. That was a good drill for me. Hopefully that one helps you too. All right, that's all I got for today. Thank you so much for watching and supporting the channel. Once again, if you keep watching them, I'll keep making them. I know I touched on a lot of points very briefly, so if you want me to break down something further, let me know in the comments, and I'll give it my best shot. Until next time, peace.